Wale Bello, the 32-year-old CEO and majority owner of Zenith Corp, one of West Africa's largest tech conglomerates, was tired of being loved for his bank account. He was determined to find a woman who saw the man beneath the millions. His solution: a scandalously simple disguise. He traded his bespoke Italian suits for Zenith Corp's gray and green janitorial uniform and assumed the identity of, say, a humble, newly hired cleaner. His closest executive, the COO, was the only one in on the ruse, forced to endure the daily horror of seeing his boss empty trash cans. Wale started work on the executive floor, the most difficult and high-security level, hoping to blend in unnoticed. On his very first night, wrestling a stubborn vacuum cleaner, he met Nkechi. She was a woman of fierce beauty and even fiercer dedication, meticulously polishing the glass walls with a quiet concentration that Wale found instantly captivating. She didn't spare him a second glance, which, ironically, made her the first woman in years to truly intrigue the billionaire. She simply pointed to a spill and asked him, in a soft, musical voice, to get it before morning. The spark of connection. Nkechi quickly took Sei under her wing, patiently teaching him the specialized routines for the executive suites, how to polish marble without scratching it and where to find the best cleaning supplies. Wale, despite running a multi-billion naira company, genuinely struggled with the industrial floor buffer, much to Nkechi's amusement. Their bond solidified during their mandatory 30-minute late-night lunch break, usually eaten on the loading dock behind the main building, far from the polished corporate air. While Wale usually discussed IPOs and market futures, as say, he spoke about his fictional village, his dreams of starting a small business, and his frustrations with the harsh treatment from the company's middle managers. Nkechi, in turn, shared her modest goal of saving enough to start a tailoring business. She lamented the arrogance of the unseen executives, particularly the CEO, Wale himself, whom she imagined as a silver spoon, useless boy. Wale could only nod awkwardly, his heart aching with the shame of his deception, yet swelling with the genuine connection he felt. Meanwhile, Chinedu, the sharp-eyed night security supervisor and Nkechi's cousin, observed their growing intimacy from a distance, his usual smirk replaced with a look of calculating scrutiny. Love blossoms under scrutiny. Weeks turned into months, and the ruse became Wale's reality. He had fallen deeply in love with Nkechi's independent spirit, her kindness to the daytime staff, and her refusal to compromise her dignity for anyone. Their stolen moments, a quick hand squeeze behind a supply closet, a shared bottle of chilled Zobo drink, an easy laugh over Chinedu's tyrannical rule, were the highlights of his double life. Wale knew the game was nearing its end, the lie was becoming unsustainable. He planned a grand reveal, a sweeping gesture that would explain everything, apologize for the deception, and ask her to be his wife. But just as he was about to set his plan in motion, the workplace tension boiled over. Chinedu, possibly due to sheer professional jealousy or, as Wale suspected, a deeper, unspoken motive, was aggressively targeting Tsei. Chinedu began fabricating reports of missed cleaning spots and even subtly damaging equipment to frame Wale. He desperately needed the cleaning team, and especially Tsei, to look spectacularly incompetent. Wale handled the insult and threats with the forced humility of a cleaner, knowing that one day soon, he would be Chinedu's boss again. The vicious twist. The night before Wale planned to execute his grand confession, he arrived early for his shift. The executive meeting room door was slightly ajar. He noticed Nkechi and Chinedu inside, but they weren't cleaning. They were hunched over Wale's own private laptop, which Wale thought he'd locked securely in his CEO's desk. He froze, listening in the shadows. The conversation was not one of cousins, but of co-conspirators. Sei is a fool, Chinedu, but he's useful. I've confirmed he's just a cleaner, not one of the new executive spies, Nkechi whispered urgently. The network access codes I got from a supervisor ID will be useless, but the server room blueprints he casually mentioned will get us the main target. Wales got twisted into a knot of ice. Nkechi wasn't just a cleaner, she was an industrial spy, placed by Chinedu, who was leaking Zenith Corp's core data to a rival firm. Her kindness, her sincerity, even the details of her tailoring dream, it was all a calculated performance to get close to the team with access to the highest security areas. Their love was a tool, a honey trap designed to destabilize the company Whale had built from the ground up. The bitter exposure. Whale's planned romantic reveal was instantly cancelled. He spent the next 24 hours operating as, say, the cleaner, but now with the cold calculation of a CEO preparing a hostile takeover defense. He used his cleaning shift to subtly audit the security cameras and confirm the data transfer logs that were being leaked via Chinedu's terminals. The culmination of the scandal came not on the loading dock, but in the main auditorium during the annual all-staff address, which Whale was supposedly missing. As the company CEO began the speech, Whale walked onto the stage, not in a cleaning uniform, but in a razor-sharp, custom-made suit, the Zenith Corp logo subtly embroidered on the cuff. The crowd gasped, then erupted into confused chatter. Nkechi, seated near the front, stared at him, her face draining of color. "My name is Ekinwell Bello, your CEO," he announced, his voice booming across the speakers. He then proceeded to unveil the betrayal, detailing Chinedu's scheme to sell proprietary algorithms. He paused, looking directly at Nkechi. "And I discovered this plot because I was here, amongst you, working as the cleaner, say. And that is how I found my most trusted employee, Nkechi, working as the insider who betrayed us all." The auditorium descended into chaos. Security, the actual armed kind, not Chinedu's network, swooped in to detain both Chinedu and a stunned, weeping Nkechi. The immediate scandal rocked Lagos's corporate world, the CEO who became a cleaner, the beautiful spy who broke his heart, and the biggest case of industrial espionage in years. The betrayal was absolute, fueled by the desperation of a rival family firm that had used Chinedu and Nkechi to cripple Zenith Corporation. In the ensuing weeks, the company recovered the stolen data and restored its security, but Whale's spirit was fundamentally damaged. He was publicly hailed as a corporate hero, yet privately, the pain was crippling. He had risked everything for genuine connection, only to discover that the humbler, truer world he sought was just as treacherous as the boardroom. The tailoring dream Nkechi had shared with him was genuine, she tearfully admitted during a brief, final confrontation, but her family's death had forced her into Chinedu's scheme. Whale learned a tough lesson: money may hide who you are, but the lack of it can equally drive people to terrible acts. He returned to his executive life, sadder, wiser, and forever changed, knowing that the greatest risk he ever took was trusting a beautiful smile.